So let's
Hello.
recognize him.
Very good evening to my friends from India and very good morning to my friends from US and Brazil. Hope you all are doing fine in this pandemic. So before I start, I would request all the attendees to kindly mute themselves. Thank you. So our webinar is about marketing today. The name of the webinar is Marketing, Where to Start. So our speaker of the day is Professor Marielza R. Cavallari from Brazil, Sao Paulo. So our speaker is a master in business administration. She is a marketing and teacher for undergraduate courses and specialization at ESPM and INSPER in Sao Paulo, Brazil. As a senior executive with senior experience in marketing, having held for more than 20 years several executive positions in marketing, multinational local companies, both in durable and fast-moving consumer goods. Also, she coordinates at ESPM as a student joint consultancy enterprise dedicated to helping small and medium Brazilian companies prepare for internationalization. Global Links Initiative Scholar from Brazil 2021 is also our Professor Marielza R. Cavallari. Professor will take questions from all of you, so you can drop your questions in the chat box. After her presentation, she will take your questions. And as always, there will be a group photo at the end of the session, so you can switch on your video if you wish to. I would request Professor to take over the presentation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your introduction. Good evening, everyone. It's very nice for me to be here with you. I'd like to thank Dr. Mary Conway Dutton and Dr. Shamista Banerjee, as well as all the Global Links team for this invitation. So it's an honor for me to be talking from Brazil to you. I love this exchange and this capacity to exchange experiences that Global Links bring to us. So thank you very much for the invitation. So I'm here today to talk about marketing, which is a theme that everybody thinks is too difficult or too far from day by day, from our day by day. But in fact, what I usually tell people is that we have to think about marketing as market, as a place for exchange. Someone has something to offer, someone has something to buy, right? So let me move here. I was reading some articles from India when I was preparing this, and I found this sentence from this journalist, and she was saying that an entrepreneur is often considered as a one-man army, and that's it, right? You're the person planning the business, you're the person selling, you're the person doing all the finance. So for a while, you have to do everything. And I think that the biggest challenge is to be sure that the idea that you have works, right? So what I call business idea is like the startup idea. So it is a fundamental, right? So the main question is, what are you going for? Do you know the business? Because, well, I apologize for the background noise. It's just because we can avoid this right now. So what you have to think about is sometimes you have experience in doing something, but this experience is not the same thing as running your own business, right? So for example, I can use my own experience. When I started to stop for companies and was in this transition towards becoming a professor at the university, some companies started to ask me to work as a consultant, especially in business administration and marketing, right? So for me, it was something that was technically prepared, and I had experience in doing the consultancy, talking about marketing. But that was totally different than really managing a consultancy business. Because managing a consultancy business brought me some challenge. For example, how do I prepare the budget? I know how many hours I will need to solve the problem that the business presented me. But how do I charge for each one of these hours, right? I was working alone, but in the project, I would be hours that would be very operational, an assistant could do. I would have other hours that a manager could do, and I would have some hours that a strategist would do. And these have different prices, but I would be the person performing all the roles. So I could not charge all the hours according to my cost. I had to plan this. So I had to go and talk to the market and learn to do this, learn how to consider in this cost, the energy I was using, the computer hours I was using. So I knew what I had to do in terms of the consultancy, but running the business was something I had to learn. How could I receive money from companies outside Brazil, from companies abroad, right? So I think that the first question is always, are we sure about what we are offering? If you have started, probably by now you know this. But if you are still thinking in terms of what you're going to do, you have to make yourself the difficult questions about the business, right? So do you know what you have to deliver? Do you know what the market is really giving value to? And do you know what is the backstage demand of work that you have to deal with? Because when you're looking for investment, that's what the investors are going to be analyzing in your proposals, right? So let's talk a little bit about this, and I hope I can help you a little bit more, right? So there is, well, I would say the father of all this marketing theory organization, which is Philip Kotler. And he usually says that marketing starts with STP. And what is STP, right? It is, you have to look to the market, where usually we look and see people that want to buy something that I can offer. But we have to understand these people are different. So we always have to start segmenting the market. It means I have to look to the market and I understand I have people that are similar. So we have some oranges, some green, some blues. And these people together have different things. But when I split them, then usually have many things in common. Normally, their habits and what they are looking for in our products. And by product, I mean a good or a service or both together, right? So the first thing, and I think it's difficult, I know your question is, wow, then we have started with all this marketing theory, but I am a one-man army. How do I do this in real life? And I'm going together. We don't need really to start by the complex and structured answer as global companies do. We can start as commercialization started in the past, right? We can start as, if we go back to ancient times, we would have a square, we would have people bringing their things to the square. So everybody would go to that square in the Sunday afternoon and we would exchange goods, right? So that's basically the same thing when we are starting. It's the same thing. Why? Because if you were somebody going to that square every Sunday, after some time, you would clearly see the differences that each one of your clients would have. And this is more or less what I would like to talk to you about. How in your day by day, you can use tools that can help you structure a little better the business that you have in. And this is marketing about. This is understanding the market, understanding the square where you're going to sell something, right? So once I understand there are people that want one thing and are the green, the orange ones, then we have some people with some habits and behaviors and wishes that are similar, and a third group with other behaviors and other wishes. When we have all of them and we understand we have these different groups, I can think what each one of them want and to whom I have a better chance to sell. So when I do this, I understand that what these guys in blue are looking for is quite similar to the service and to the product I can offer. I started to define my target. What do I mean by target? The group of people with the highest potential to buy your offering. That's the idea. So once you understand this group of people are more willing to buy whatever you're offering, you have to talk to this group of people and you have to tell them, you know, I have this product and the benefits I bring to you are these ones, and specifically benefits A and B only my product can offer. At the moment you do this, you are positioning yourself. So you are entering the mind of these people that can buy your product, right? So you have to let them know that you have something for them. So let's go a little bit under this in terms of how you can do that. So segmenting the market is not selling to everyone. Usually when we start something, we say the most people buying, the better. That's true. But it's not true that everybody has to buy your product because not everybody wants what you're offering. So you have some questions to ask yourself. So do you know what the market is looking for? Do you know who they are in terms of habits, in terms of the way they use your product, what they are looking for? And do you talk to them after the purchase? Have you ever asked these people, why did they buy your product? What they like it, what they didn't like? So that's what I mean by start segmenting. That's what I mean by starting to understand. When you start to understand, it means you start to see the different colors. And if you start to see the different colors, it becomes easier for you to find the ones that match what you're offering better. So once, if you are targeting, the thing is, if you really have understood where you have a better chance to sell, this means you're going to be able to tell me who they are and who they are in terms of what they use your product for, what are their daily routine, what kind of things do they like, who influences them. And why is this important? This is important because I know everybody that has something to sell or something to offer wants to promote this, wants to make people know about it. But if you want to make everybody knows about it, it's going to be too expensive. So you have to understand the piece of the group that you have to talk about, because then you have more focus. It means you're going to be more efficient in getting whatever you have to get, right? And once you have identified that group of people, then you have to position yourself, which is when you're going to communicate to these people using social networks, using email marketing, when you're going to communicate to these people, you have to be very sure that you are talking to the group of people that is more interested in the benefits that you're offering. And you also have to make very clear that they understand what you're offering. And the most important part, that you have to make it very evident what you are offering that the others are not offering. And for this, I start down here. You have to ask yourself, do you know who competes with you? Not compete with you generally. For example, you are, I don't know, you have a hairdresser salon. It's not that everybody that has a hairdresser salons is competing with you. Well, it is, they are competing with you. But what I mean by, do you know who competes with you? I mean by, do you know what do you offer that is better than the others? And do you know who else offer these specific points as you do? If you do not know these answers, you have to do a homework and start thinking about it. First of all, asking yourselves, why do people come here? And what do I offer that the others do not offer or do not offer as good as I do? And once you find this is the point that you have to strengthen to the consumers and to the clients, to your customers. And how do you do that? Asking people, following people in social networks and paying attention to their comments, trying to read articles that you find in the internet about the people that is studying your market. So you don't need to have a lot of money to invest in marketing research or in a formal market research as a global company do. Nowadays, thanks to social networks, we can have a lot of information just paying attention, just observing, which is also a marketing research technique, right? So these are some questions that you should do for yourself to answer my initial question. Do you really know in what business you are? Do you really know what you're doing, right? So that's why Philip Kotler says, marketing starts with segmenting, targeting, and positioning. If you do not know this, you're not ready, right? So this is the strategy. This is how we are going to achieve your goal, that at least is to get to the market and to sell, right? Eventually, that's what you want. All the other things that you listen about marketing mix, which is considered the marketing mix 4 Ps, commonly talked in marketing, just mean where are concentrated the actions that will execute your strategy. But the thing is, while you don't answer the questions that I made before, all the efforts that you put here will be less efficient than if you did with this one very clear. Because this is more or less like entering a war, shooting everywhere. But if you have done a homework before, then you will more precisely know where do you have to shoot to be successful. So that's the idea, right? So moving from this and connecting these two parts, and I think that's what you're willing or expecting for, let's talk about what we have nowadays that doesn't cost a lot of money and that can put you in a track of understanding better the market. Right? So first thing, you have to identify contact points. And by contact points, I mean, try to discover how the ones who are buying from you or who are paying attention to you, how did they discover you? How did they come to know about you? Because when you understand this, you're going to be understanding the contact points that might be more efficient. And for this, you need to understand people's routine, working, school, shopping, transportation, social networks, leisure moments, right? So once you understand people's routine, you know where they are going and when they are going. And this will make it easier for you to appear to them in the moments they are more willing to pay attention to you. So this is important, and we learn this by talking to the ones who are buying from us and pay attention to the competitors that we have. So that's why I said, do you really know with whom you are competing with? So for starting promoting your business, and I know this is usually one of the biggest challenges when we are starting, because we need to promote and we do not have a lot of money, or we have limited money to do that. So in terms of planning your promotion, you have to understand who are your targets, and you have to have some information about their behaviors. And how do you get this? We have some studies done here in Brazil that people that were starting up their business started to form their business image on social networks, even before having something to sell. And they started to understand, okay, let's suppose if I'm a hairdresser, I probably match or I'm completed by also fashion, also makeup, also jewelry. So these people start to follow brands and companies that are similar to the benefits you are offering the final consumer. So they start to follow brands and companies similar to them, but not in the same area. So if I'm a hairdresser, then I start to follow people in jewelry, people in makeup, business, and fashion. And I start to pay attention to the comments of the people in their pages. Then I start to learn about these people. I start to learn about their behavior. I start to learn who they follow and who influences them. I start to understand the subjects they like to talk about, right? And then I start to identify the most contact points. So this will bring us a lot of learning. And I started to research, and I got this data from January 21 from the Statista, which is a data bank very used. And what I learned, these are the 4 most used or most penetrated, being the ones that reach the biggest part of people. So I saw that in India, 85% of the adult population has access to YouTube. And then followed by Facebook with 75%, WhatsApp with 74%, and Instagram with 70%. So I do not even have to touch everything. So if I'm starting something, I have to focus here, because I have to focus here where I have the biggest penetration. But again, I don't have to talk to everybody. I have to start surfing these networks to start understanding which are the group of people that might be interested in the benefits that I'm offering. Then I'm starting to segment. And then I start to connect to similar business in terms of value, proposition, benefits in complementary areas to learn more about my consumers. So I might go even to Messenger and Twitter and LinkedIn. But sometimes if you're starting, focusing in too much, it's going to request a lot of time from you and you don't have. So focus where you have a better chance to find more potential buyers, right? And then you have to understand some things about this. So you can have a Facebook page, which is commercial, and you can have your Facebook account, 2 different things. The difference is that when you follow, that's probably when you can just like give a positive sign, that's probably a business. When you can comment, that's probably a personal account. So you have to have a business personality. The same thing for Instagram. All of them have Instagram for companies, Facebook for companies. And in this sense, you have to know that we have 2 differences in marketing. You have what we call inbound marketing and outbound marketing. So what's inbound marketing? Is when you're not selling anything. You're not saying buy this, but you start talking about subjects that people like. So if you're a hairdresser, you start to post information regarding the newest hair cuts, the newest trends in terms of hair care. So you are giving information. What you're doing, you're creating a relationship with people that are interested in what you can offer. And then when you start to have people connecting to you, then you have a moment to also do outbound marketing, which is promoting your offers, your products, doing some promotions, right? So I'm almost finishing. I probably need 3 or 4 minutes extra. So I brought here some examples that maybe you know, right? So according to this site, these are the 15 startups with the best Instagram account. So this is something from 2018, but I think it's quite good for us to use. Maybe you know some of these startups, and they classify the startups based on this criteria, right? Number of followers, engagement. So I went to take a look at this one, the first one, the Blue Tokai Coffee, right? They are considered one of the best accounts. So if you just do the same, if you just use Instagram, you're going to see that they have like 63,000 people following them. So this means 63,000 people who are interested in what they have to offer, right? And if you pay attention to the pictures, you're going to see that they talk about things that are related to their business. Sometimes they have clues in terms of how do you have a good coffee result, the differences among the coffees and everything. So this is inbound marketing, right? But you will also find some promotions, and this is outbound marketing. This is moving the consumer towards the behavior of purchasing, right? And then if you go and take a look at the Facebook account they have, you're going to follow that the message is quite similar, because you have to have one image independent of the social network. And when people start to comment, you start to learn from your consumers, and then you can start to improve your business based on this. So here I give you some clues in terms of how do you start this promotion, right? So if you have a limited budget, but you can hire someone specialized in social networks, maybe this is the best investment that you're going to do. Maybe you can get another startup, which is not your competitor, but is somebody that complements you, and maybe hire them together, which is going to make it cheaper for you. But if you don't have, you can do it yourself, but you have to do a homework. So you have to plan. You have to split some moments of the week where you're going to dedicate to really study the networks to learn about your potential consumers, right? So then you have to be regularly posting. It doesn't work if you post today and then you only post one month later, because people will think you're not active. So once you start entering the social networks, this has to be continuous. You have to be present because you're constructing relationships, right? Look for partners to share initiatives. There are hundreds of other startups also trying to do something. And maybe if you do cross promotions, for example, if I am a hairdresser and I have another business which offers massages, can we do a promotion? So if you come to my hairdresser, if you go there, you get a discount when you also use the other service. So can you like plan things together, which is going probably to use the force of one to reinforce the other. That's what we call cross promotions, right? Always use hashtags, which are words that are connected to your business. So this will drive people's attention. That's how you construct the followers, right? You have to have discipline. So you have to be regularly posting, and you always have to define the indicators that will show you if the efforts you are doing are really working, right? So here's an example of using the Blue Tokai coffee of what I'm talking about. Not only a cross promotion, but sometimes cross mention. This is a post they did talking about drinking coffee and reading a good book. And see that down here, they mention the author of the book, right? And then if you pay attention in the comments, people started to say, wow, that's a great book. That's really a very interesting book. So this is driving attention to the book and to the author. The author itself commented on that. So when you are also wanting to promote your business, sometimes you can go to a related page or a related business. Again, so you're a hairdresser, you go to a makeup brand page. And then when this makeup brand comments something, you can just place a comment like, wow, and this makeup would go great with this hair style, which I just did in one client last week. And then you post a picture. This will call attention of the people, and probably some people will look into your account because they like it, what you posted. And so you start to construct your network, and this network will lead you to construct your promotional line, right? So of course, in 30 minutes, I couldn't like go a little bit deeper than this, but I like books that make things easy. So this is Web Analytics for Dummies. That's a very good book if you want to start understand a little bit more about social media. There is something called Web Analytics, which shows you that there is a lot of there is a lot of free information and data on internet. There are always some basic information Facebook, Instagram, Google give us for free, but we have to know how to get that from the network. So we have to study. And this book is a good one to help you get started on doing this, okay? So I thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm open to any questions. And I hope this could help you at least have some good insights for increasing and developing your business. I thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'm at your disposal for questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marielza. And my whole team from India joins you. We're just short of applauding you physically, but we are so, so impressed with your real life explanation to what is happening in the world of marketing. I am so grateful that you have really taken so much effort to do a slide for India and done research on which are the most popular social media parts in India. I'm sure the students have benefited a lot, and the entrepreneurs have already started showing keen interest. They want to see your slides, they want to keep your slides. So it's so great that you have not only touched upon the depth of marketing, but you have explained it so lucidly for all our entrepreneurs and students. Before I go further, I would request some questions that can be asked. We find that there is a question which asks, in the slide when you spoke about positioning, you spoke about parity. Could you tell us what parity here means?
Yes. Maybe this will require a little bit more technical explanation, but let me see if I can make it simple. When I'm showing you something, and I have understood who is my target, right? So I don't know. Let me see if I can find something. I will use a Brazilian word, right? And some of you who can use the resources from Zoom, I would just like you to raise your virtual hand, right? So when I say, would you like to buy vatapá? Who understood what I'm selling to you? If I say, would you like to buy vatapá? So
no, we don't understand. Mm-hmm.
We have one person. We have one person. Nice. I like that, right? So this person, so Swami, if I'm not wrong, thank you, Swami. You can lower your hand. When I heard this, he understood what I'm selling him is food. So, and he will probably compare to other foods that he like, and then he'll see if he gives it a try or not. Maybe when he comes to Brazil, he likes to eat that, right? So this is parity. When I understand you are talking about food, and when I understand you're talking about food with a certain composition. And differentiation is how different it is from other vatapás. So let me go back. Every time I'm trying to position, I have to have very clear what people understanding as the basis of the service or of the product, right? So when I'm talking about buying a yogurt, if I say, buy a yogurt, you know that it's food, you know it's made from milk, you know that has a little bit of sour background. So this, any yogurt has. So if you just say, I'm a yogurt, it's going to make people understand you have something to sell, which is a yogurt. But at the end, you don't tell them why they should buy your yogurt. So we have to say, I have a yogurt, and my yogurt is made with natural fruits, no additives, and like with a whole fat milk. This part are your differentials, right? But the yogurt is the parity. And why you have to know this, although it seems stupid. It's not that you have to know that, because you know, but you have to know how the market understands that. Because if I were a Brazilian trying to sell vatapá in India, I couldn't just say that I'm doing vatapá with then the oil and with and all the parts of all the pork parts, right? Because you don't know what's vatapá. So I would have to spend some time showing you Brazilian culture, showing you Brazilian food, showing you what vatapá is made of. Then once you have understood that, I would have to say, okay, and my vatapá is better than the others because I have, I don't know, only fresh pork and it's not with conservants and this kind of thing. So the parity technically for promotion helps us save time and save money. Because if I'm entering a segment where people already know what the product is, what the basic product is, you don't have to tell people, you don't have to lose time and money to explain people. You can just say what you do better, right? But if you say that you're selling something so innovative that people really doesn't know what it is about, you have to remember that promoting your product will have to start showing the people what is that product about, right? Otherwise, they will never start thinking about your benefits because they don't even know how they are going to use that. So this is a little more advanced marketing. I could talk specifically about this construction, but just remember this. Don't take for granted that once you know what is your innovation, everybody will know. No, that's not true. You have to know what the market understand for that. And then if they don't get the whole picture, you have to plan baby steps to make them understand the whole picture and then position yourself saying, okay, once you understand this is a food, and you understand this food has this kind of flavor and you use in this moment of the day, now I'm going to tell you why you should buy mine and not the others, right? And this is a construction process. But if you don't even know how your market considers that, then all your promotion effort is going to be not efficient as you would like. And the investors notice this very fast. That's the first question they ask you, but why do you think that people know what you're selling? I know that some of you have already listened to this question. That's because of it, because you didn't pay attention how the market would understand. So you have to enter the minds of the people, but to enter their minds, you have to understand first what they understand by yogurt, what they understand by chocolate, what they understand by vatapá, right?
Thank you so much, Marielza. It was such a nice explanation. And the other questions, there have been a couple of questions, but I will close with one question. One of the entrepreneurs have asked, at the grassroots level, how does the entrepreneur understand about segmentation of the customers?
That's a good question, and it's probably what I want to do to focus. I think that when you are really, really at the beginning, and you don't have too much money for that, you learn from observing and observing the social networks. So you have to go by associations and by observing the others. So let's suppose you're not started yet, but I don't know, I have to get a starting point. So let's suppose you have a clothes store or a fashion store, right? But you have like different styles, different designs and things like this. You can use social networks and start following pages and accounts related to fashion. You can, if you go down there on the Web Analytics for Dummies, they're going to show you how to find the influencers, right? So you will start to understand people talking about fashion. What kind of fashion styles do they show? What are the questions that people that are following them make? When you pay attention to other stores that are thinking that are also very stylish and that you like to follow, if you pay attention what people is commenting, you will start to understand the different questions, the different worries, and the different wishes. If you use Facebook, for example, Facebook have private groups and they discuss almost everything. And Facebook has a tool where you can, for example, place a word which is fashion. And then they show you the pages with most people visiting, and that talks about fashion. And then if you ask the manager of that group if you can be part of the group and he accepts you, you start to exchange idea with these people. So this is a way of starting learning that the market has different wishes. And even if you don't know techniques, and I really didn't want to talk about techniques of segmentation because we do have them, right? But if you just pay attention to the different questions, if you just pay attention to the different preferences, you will start to notice there are some people worried about, I don't know, practicity and how they use, and then you have other people that are worried about self-expression and how the fashion talks for them. Then if you start to pay attention to this, you can start grouping different people. So this is very basic, but I think is a very good way to start, because in companies, we also do this. We start looking, following, understanding the networks. And when we get this idea, then you might get some help and also plan an online questionnaire. And then you place an online questionnaire and ask people, we'd like to discuss about fashion. Please explain me. And then you make some questions. Then people will start talking to you. And then you will confirm you understand the different segments. I don't know if this happens, but that would be baby steps for starting.
Thank you so much, Marielza. And you will understand from the chat box that how impressed your audience is with what you're saying. So thank you for your detailed explanation to each of the questions. And I would like to ask the audience that we would be able to post our questions to Professor Marielza, and we will, of course, connect you with her. Next week, when I definitely am inviting you, especially for the quiz of the Global Links Impact Investment Forum website. We are calling it the Glyph Website Quiz Mania. The students and entrepreneurs, please go through the website very seriously, and you have a very interesting quiz coming up by Dr. Mary Conway Daton in next Friday, 6 p.m. as per our regular schedule. You will find that this is not only a way of you knowing more about Glyph, but a way of getting to know how interesting this program is. So please enjoy your time looking at the website during this week, so that next Friday, 6 p.m., you are at the quiz. And you know that every quiz has rewards and recognitions and prizes and certificates. So next Friday, I really want great participation from all of you. And before we close, I would like to say thank you to Professor Marielza once again for your time and for taking so much care to address the students' questions. And I would hand over to Shanchari to arrange for the video